My name is Lena Bracci. My pronouns are she, they. I'm a member of the UCA Board of Trustees, and we're starting announcements on time today, so I hope people are making their way to the sanctuary. We got a lot here going on at UCA, and there's so many places to find that information. We got the order of service right out front. We have our own website. We have weekly announcements, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Facebook, Instagram, and you don't like those? Again, just come in person and hear me share them. If you're new, you can also fill out and return a blue card in the seat pocket near you to be added to our email list and Realm, the online extension of our community. So here's some specific things we got going on. Throughout July, registration is open for our inclusive and science-based sexual education for kids in 7th through 9th grade. It's called OWL. I'm a big proponent of it. I highly suggest you check it out. Please share with friends and family for whom this might be appropriate. For more information, please speak to Desria or Nike. On July 27th at 6 p.m., all ages heavy metal concert. Oh, I'm adding that to my calendar. $16 in advance, $18 at the door. July 28th through August 1st, 8:45 a.m. to noon, with extended care available until 5, Nature's Palette Summer Camp. For more info, please speak to Desria. July 31st, 2 to 4 p.m., on behalf of Barb Newman and her children, you're invited to Herb Celebration of Life in the Georgia Room at Brandon Wild Retirement Community. There will be a reception at 3 p.m. on the Brandon Wild Sun Porch. Carpooling is encouraged. July 31st at 5:30 p.m., things are going to be rad. And by that I mean Readers for Activism and Diversity, which is still pretty rad. September 6th at 2 p.m. is OWL and Interfaith Orientations, and September 7th at 1 p.m. is the New Church Year Potluck Party at the Filzen House. I highly suggest you come out. Bring something yummy. If you don't have something yummy, bring yourself. We love to have company too. If you want to check out our ongoing events, refer to the places I referred you to at the beginning, or read along the order of service. If there are any other brief announcements or church-related events that I missed, would anyone like to share those now? Amazing, I hear silence. That means you're listening to me. We hope you'll linger with us after the worship service for conversation, coffee, and fellowship, either on Zoom or if you're with us in person, join us in the common room. Worship will begin shortly. Thank you, guys.
Welcome, everyone, to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Augusta, where our mission is to create a beloved community, acting together with compassion, reason, and respect, empowering us to promote a just society. My name is Grushinski, pronouns he, him, and today I'm co-creating this service with our Reverend Nic Filzen, our music director, Josef, Patchen, the talented folks running our tech deck, and everyone else here. We're all shaping this moment together. In honor of this sacred moment and respect for each other, please all take a moment to make sure that your devices are on worship mode. All right. If today's your first day with us, we encourage you to stop by the greeters table following the service to get more acquainted with the church. Our membership coordinator, Fern Smith, who you may have seen sitting out there. Oh, there she is. Nope, sorry. Nope, so she was sitting out there at the desk. Would love to chat with you and find out about your interests. The blue card in the seat pocket in front of you can be a great guide for that conversation. You're also more than welcome to join us for coffee and snacks after worship in the common room. Existing community members will know newcomers by their green or red name tags. The different colors indicate how comfortable folks are with engaging with new people as they explore a new experience. Green means, please speak with me. Let's get to know each other right away. However, red means you can say hi, but I prefer to get to know folks a little more slowly over time. And for those of you on Zoom, please consider staying online after the service to chat and connect with each other. Whether you're here in person or joining us virtually, we welcome, celebrate all of who you are.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Nic. My pronouns are he, him. I'm so glad to be with you this morning. As we do each week in which we come together for worship, we light our chalice, and we do so with these words by Reverend Betts Weinecke, entitled, May This Flame. May this flame, symbol of transformation since time began, fire our curiosity, strengthen our wills, and sustain our courage as we seek within and around us.
For our opening hymn this morning, we're going to do a round called Where Do We Come From? And I'd like us to divide into three sections, 1, 2, and 3. The first section will take the first line. Will you try that with me? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Thank you. Our middle section will take this nice longer part. Where do we come from? Try it with me. Where do we come from? Very nice. And our third section over here, a little third section, mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. So if you will, please rise as you are willing and able. And let's do this. We'll start off twice through with the first part, add in the second part for twice through, and the third after that. And we'll do it until it feels right to end. Thank you.
Before we get into the question box preparation, I do want to take a moment to celebrate and welcome our new church administrator, Brandy Carr, and her family, Nick and Faith, who are here with us today. Brandy, if you could stand up and we'll just say hi to you. And of course, they come as a package deal because, families and such. But I am so happy to have them be a part of our community now. I hope you'll get a chance in the next couple weeks or so to start to get to know Brandy, and we'll be working closely with her. I'll be working closely with her at least for the next 4 months, but I am so excited for her to be here. She is very cool, and we're in good hands. So I just wanted to point her out so we all know who she is by look. Thank you so much. All right, so one of my favorite services of the year is the question box service, during which you all get to ask me pretty much anything within reason. If you put something in there that's maybe not grayed out, I may just not answer it. But in just a moment, we will pass the box around for you to put any question that you have put on your note card that you received when you came into that box. Is there anybody who has not received a card or a pen that would like to? Okay, quite a few of us. Let me see if Fern is available to help out. So when Fern comes in with the cards and the pens, those of you who raise your hands that did not receive a card and pen that want to ask a question, keep your hands raised, and we will help pass those out for you. Matt has some here. Thank you all for your help. Keep your hands up if you want to ask a question and haven't gotten the card. So while we do that, I also want to invite folks who are on Zoom to put any questions you might have into the chat. And during the meditation, I'll look at all of the cards and the questions in the chat so that I make sure that I can engage with everyone who's here with us today, whether they're in person or not. These questions can be playful and they can be serious, or maybe both. Questions about me, this church, Unitarian Universalism, theology in general. In the past, we've had questions about whether or not what my favorite animal is, things like that. That's all fair game. But right now, once everyone gets their card, we'll take about 2 minutes for you to write some questions down. And while we do that, Joseph will do some underscoring, and then I'll pass our question box around for you to put your cards in. So let's go ahead and take a couple of minutes or a minute or so to write any questions you have, and then the box will be passed around.
So we got your brains working a little bit, but now I invite you all to get comfortable in your seats. Perhaps place both feet flat on the ground, sit up a little straighter, slouch a little more. I want you to feel free to look around right now. Realize in this space you are safe and you are free to explore whatever comes up while we're talking today. We've just recently passed the summer solstice, towards the end of last month. The sun's longest time in our sky. Pagans look to this time as a peak of power, strength, and abundance, knowing that the wheel of the year will turn once again towards darkness. In honor of the season, I'd like to offer you some affirmations and reflections from an unnamed author at Heliodor Press. I honor the sun at the peak of its power. Like the sun, I radiate strength and vitality. With each day, I embrace my fullest potential. Take a moment or a breath to reflect on what you wish to celebrate and cultivate during this time of light and growth. What passions will you embrace? What dreams will you bring into full bloom? Hold these thoughts in your mind and let the sun's light fuel your intentions, igniting your spirit with confidence and strength. I embrace the fire of inspiration and creativity. The sun's power fills me with strength and joy. I am open to the blessings of light, warmth, and abundance. May the auspices of summer keep you warm through the cold winter, and may your soon-to-come harvest yield joyful fruits. Blessed be. All right. So, I'd lived in Augusta for almost 17 years. It's about 2008-ish, feeling alone, isolated, and a bit angry with the greater CSRA. Was afraid to speak too loudly on my beliefs, be they spiritual, political, moral, knowing that the vast majority of folks that I had been exposed to tended to think what they tended to think, and that many of them were not exactly tolerant of differences that I may have had with them. We were looking for a place to help teach our kids morality without hellfire, community without indoctrination, and acceptance without judgment. We found this place. And this place has become like a second home to us, a beloved community, so to speak. But communities take things to keep them alive: time, attention, work, and money. I'm grateful to this church and to the folks that have made this a great place to be. And with that, I ask that you give what you can to help us keep it alive. Cash and checks are greatly received, or you may use text to give using the information that should appear on the screens in a couple of seconds. Would the ushers please come forward? Thank you all for your generosity.
Give me just a second. I'm organizing into general themes of questions. Some good questions in here, all y'all. Thank you. So you all have given me a lot of things to think about, some of which are entire sermons. I'll do my best with short-ish answers, concise answers on those. I have 5 different piles here of questions that are kind of in the same theme, and then once I get through kind of those stacks, I'm going to have one of our Utes come up and pull a random one for me, and we'll see how well I can think on the fly. So there are 3 questions here that are relatively similar, and all kind of feel they're in that hope, inspiration, advice for life kind of realm. So the questions are, in these challenging times, what brings you hope? What is the best piece of advice that you can give us today, and who inspires you? What brings me hope in these challenging times? The people in this room. We show up, and we show up, and we show up. We hold each other with care, and we show up not just to hear, but to all of the partner groups that we have started to do some really good work with, some really good trouble with. Indivisible meets here at least once a month. Our people from Legal Women Voters, who have been a longtime partner, the founders of which were actually Unitarians. The way that we come together in small and big ways, that is hopeful for me. The best piece of advice you can give us today, just keep showing up, love each other. And I'm gonna trouble that notion of love a little bit in this answer. Sometimes love is not about advice. I think the answer to that question kind of comes out of that question. Advice is often given too freely. Advice is given too freely. So if you are somebody who happens to share advice without being asked to, maybe think about that. Maybe soften that a little bit. Maybe enter conversations where you might typically give advice with curiosity instead of knowing how to do the thing. And who inspires me? I could be cheesy, and I could be a little less cheesy. Both are real answers. Janaea inspires me, for sure. She, for one, puts up with me, so that's a big thing and inspirational, because I'm not easy sometimes. But also Adrienne Marie Brown. Do you all know Adrienne Marie Brown's work? She's written several books around what it means to organize from a very spiritual perspective, including emergent strategy and pleasure activism, 2 of my favorite books. But she also writes sci-fi and is perhaps the scholar in the world for Octavia Butler, who also inspires me. So if you like Octavia Butler, you'll probably like Adrienne Marie Brown, and vice versa. Just very cool people who continue to create stories that move us toward a thing. All right. These are a little more hard-hitting. These all have to do with kind of our stance on things that are happening in the world. For example, now that churches can back candidates, will our church explicitly endorse political candidates? I'll get to that in a second. How can the church encourage white folks to be proud of being white without being fascisty or racist? And I'll get to that in a second. Do we stand for nonviolence? If not, what do you consider is okay to use violence against? And what is the church's position in protecting the most vulnerable during these scary political times? The first answer, no, full stop. We will not directly endorse candidates, full stop. We will not tell you who to vote for. I will continue, as I've done for my entire career, speak about values and how those values are being done well in the world and perhaps not done well. And I will critique our people who have been given power if they're misusing or abusing that power. I will, however, not say you must vote for this candidate to be a part of this church, ever, ever, ever. How can the church encourage folks with privileged identities, typically white folks, to be proud of being white without being fascist-y? That's a really good question. A lot of times we tend, as a society and as white folks primarily, to think of ourselves as one whole group of white people who are all basically the same. Any monolith is a bad monolith. One way to get around that is to be proud of the specific country from which your family came. For example, my ancestors were German and Scots-Irish, and I think it's cool to think about that part of my heritage, and to examine both the good and the bad of each, and to not to just celebrate the good, which some folks in this country think is the only way to do history. Do we stand for nonviolence? If not, what do you consider is okay to use violence against? I think the question of do we stand for nonviolence is tricky because I think there may be a variety of opinion about that. I personally, I'll speak for myself in this, I abhor personal violence. I abhor war usually. And I think that every once in a while, there is something to be said about a just war. Especially when a group of people or a person who has relatively little power is being mistreated, abused by someone with relatively a lot of power. And that it's always important, I think, to take into account power dynamics within any situation, which is one reason why sometimes I'm okay with folks acting out. I'm not going to quote Reverend Dr. MLK Jr. perfectly, but he basically says that riots are the language of the unheard. That sometimes when a whole group of folks who are experiencing similar experiences based on some identity marker in them, and that is oppressing them, limiting their options, preventing them from flourishing in life, every once in a while, I think that there is something to be said about violence against physical structures and property, never against humans. I probably could complicate that and complexify that a little bit more, but that's generally the answer. And what is the church's position in protecting the most vulnerable during these scary political times? Similar to what I just said, it's all about power dynamics and recognizing with reason and with compassion who is actually being harmed in any given situation, who has been historically harmed, and being intentional about meeting those needs as much as we can. That said, I personally am not a fan of charity because it can get a little patronizing. It's more complicated than that, but oftentimes people who do charity are doing it from a place of, you need me to protect you. And I think that's a potentially a problematic standpoint because of the way that power dynamic. So instead of charity, I much prefer systems change, systems analysis, figuring out how to focus on the leverage points within the system, big and small, whether it be local, state, nationwide, worldwide, and our tradition operates at all of those levels. And I think one place where we could operate better, and I think we're doing a better job since January, is operating on a local level, especially local politics. I think that people who tend to lean left or veer left, as it were, in politics, tend to think globally and act globally, or try to, and I think we need to do a little bit better job of thinking globally and acting locally. All right. I'm gonna go to some less heavy questions now. I was asked, what's your favorite college/NFL football team? I have been a fan of the Indianapolis Colts for a very long time, mostly because Peyton Manning is the greatest sportsman of all time. We can have a disagreement about that. And that's what we do here. We need not think alike to love alike. What's on my reading list this summer? I am currently reading a book by one of our regional leaders in the UUA that's called Try My Jesus. And it is lovely because it looks at portions of the gospel books of the Christian Bible through a UU lens, and which I really appreciate, because so often that book is colonized and by folks who I don't think are reading it right. Top 3 songs on my summer playlist. Honestly, it's whatever Noah and Charlie want to play in the car. And they are much better at picking new, cool music that I've never heard of, and I appreciate that about them. Honestly, one of the songs that's been top of my playlist, again, almost forced because of Noah, is the main theme from How to Train Your Dragon, which she either hums or sings constantly, but she also just transcribed the whole thing on an app on their phone, and I'm very, very impressed by them. Do I have a contract? What are your plans for the future? So I don't have a contract per se. I have a letter of agreement. A contract typically has a fixed end time, and that's not what a settled minister in the UU tradition has. It's a letter of agreement that names the responsibilities and promises that I make and that you make, both back and forth. It is similar to a contract. There are things about finances in it, but it is a little different, especially because of the religious nature of the thing. It's a little bit more sacred than just a contract, I think. And my plans for the future, I'm here for a while. When I'll be very, very frank about this. When I first applied for being the minister here, one of the questions in that packet of pages and pages and pages of information about me was, how long do you want to be at any given church where you want to be? And at that point, I said, I'm going to be wherever I go through at least Charlie finishing high school. And that Charlie just is now starting 7th grade, so do some math. Why don't I have a dachshund? That's a really good question. I do have 2 other German dogs. I have a German Shepherd dog and a standard Schnauzer. And I think that I tend to prefer larger dogs, the energy of larger dogs. I also have a family that's allergic to a lot of things. So most of the dogs we get or will get will be hypoallergenic in some kind of way. I know German Shepherds don't follow that, but I won an argument, so we got her. Sorry, Janaea. Charlie, can you come read this for me? Because I'm not sure if I understand what you're asking.
That was in my card.
Oh.
That was Luke's card.
Oh, Luke, can you specify what you're asking? Chess. That's a good question. Chess is a great game. Would you like chess here? Okay, we'll get chess. I'll talk with Miss D about it this week, and we'll buy it, all right?
We could donate some chess pieces because we have a chess teacher
That sounds brilliant. So one of the reasons why I like games, and we have a lot of playful qualities here at this church, something I think draws a lot of folks in, and it's actually even written into our covenant here that playfulness is an important part of how we come together. And part of the reason why I like that on a pseudo-heady level is that life is a game, and anytime that we can kind of move ourselves towards seeing life that way and seeing theology that way is a healthy thing, and can both allow us to be more curious with different kinds of topics, which is also another important part of who we are. But also, I think it allows us to get through the hard times if we add that playful quality in most of what we do. Of course, I, like everyone else here, get angry sometimes. Right, kids? But getting back to play is a really important thing. When I first started dating Janaea and her kids, and now my kids, Charlie and Noah, were 1 and 3 at the time, she gave me strict directions about how to be a dad, and I've kept this in mind for the entirety of the relationship I've had with them, which is in order for you to have any amount of do any amount of disciplining for them, you also have to play with them at least twice as much. And so 2 to 1 play to discipline. That's the ratio. I've been here, the question is how long have you been here? I've been here this is the beginning of my 5th year. How do I manage juggling so many responsibilities and still have time for family, friends, and most importantly, self-care? That's a really good question. Similarly, how do you take care of yourself while so busy caring for others? You know, I work out almost every day. Every morning I go to the gym. This morning, Sundays are my lightest day because I don't want to get too sweaty, especially when it's this hot out, because I just will not stop sweating the whole day. But something to engage my whole being, my body and my mind, is a really important way for me to stay grounded and to appreciate not just my whole being, my whole body, but everyone's whole being, whole body, and approach everything and everyone with care, exactly where they are. Someone is new here today, Jamie, and they're curious if I've ever been to Montana. I have been through the corner of Montana, ish, yes. Good books to read to help guide someone's spiritual journey. Again, I already mentioned Adrienne Marie Brown, but I also am a big fan of Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. If there is a book that I consider to be scripture for me, it is that. Who here has engaged with that book at all? Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. It is some of the most lovely works of poetic, reflective, science-based, indigenous knowledge-based literature that I've ever engaged with, and I highly recommend Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. All right. These are questions kind of about the institution of Unitarian Universalism and this church, kind of that area of things. In my estimation, what is the current makeup of the church? And this is relative to different theological orientations. So they like pagan, humanist, Christian, etc. And does that ratio reflect UUism in general? I'd say we're probably around 50, maybe to 60% humanist, either secular or sacred humanist. There's certainly a large contingent of humanism folks here. Christian, there's a good chunk. Pagan, there's a good chunk. Probably both of those are around 10 to 15 each. So that, what does that make us? We're up to 20, 30. We have about 20% left. We have several Buddhists, including my friend Natalia back here. I think There are people who come from different cultural backgrounds that they may not name as their orientation anymore, because we have a good handful of people of Jewish descent who are culturally Jewish, if not also bridge that divide, which is not a hard divide to bridge often. So, and I think we're pretty close to what the tradition as a whole is. Andy, do you agree that we're kind of close based on your experience of UUism?
Probably, I would maybe put paganism a little bit higher.
Here or in the tradition in general? Paganism has grown. I think part of that is because even though they're on the surface, it may seem like there's some significant differences between people who have a kind of a religious naturalist, humanist orientation and pagans who tend to be a little bit more open to the idea of spirituality and how that plays. I think ultimately, if we meet at the center of metaphysics, we actually end up very much in the same place. We just use slightly different language, which I love. This church is 71 years old on the dot. We'll be talking about that in 2 weeks. That's how I know that number. And one of our folks who will be talking about that with me on that day, Don Hostetler, has been here for all 71 of those years. Look forward to having him reflect with us on August 10th. What progress on the grant for church security has been made? Quite a bit, actually. We are on the precipice of breaking ground. We're very, very close. In fact, this Wednesday, right? ADT will be here and will be installing a new security system for us. Where is the church going? Reflecting the GA last month. I'm going to wait on that because, again, on August 10th, I'll be talking about that with you all. Couple more questions before I get to a random one. Hopefully it's a playful one. All right, these are the theology questions, y'all. What are UU guidelines on prayer? Do it if it works for you. Should love, as the center of our shared values, always be unconditional? It depends on what you mean by love. If you mean love as niceness, no. If you mean love as doing the work of making everyone feel and experience wholeness and joy, yes. We all, as people full of worth and dignity, deserve to flourish as much as possible. What is God? Love. I've deconstructed the beliefs of original sin, hell, dispensationalism, and basically the supernatural, parenthetical, evangelical. Are these belief systems held here? We do not have a creed here as Unitarian Universalists. We are pluralist, which means that people can come with a whole variety of belief systems. We already talked about the breakdown of paganism, humanists, Buddhists. We have all these variety of people who have different relationships with what Jesus is, how God is a part of what we do, how God operates, whether God is all-powerful, all-loving, all these things. I have very strong opinions about each of those things. However, at the end of the day, what makes us UUs, what brings us together, is not necessarily those beliefs, but rather the promises we make with each other and for the world. Love. What is the point of life? Love. How do you explain the unexplainable? Coincidences beyond the odds, the just too weird or wonderful. In our list of, in our statement of inspirations in our new Article 2, and this is very similar to the old sources, the old 6 sources, wonder, the experience of wonder is a very, very important part of being UU. And sometimes things are inexplicable, and what makes us a little bit more unique than some other traditions is that we are curious about the inexplicable and we go explore. And hopefully we learn more about things through that wonder. And also, hopefully, through that wonder, we love each other more. All right, I'm going to have one child that isn't mine come on up and pick one card out of here. I'm going to engage with that, and that'll be my last question. All the questions that I did not get to, thank you. Would you also be willing to grab that from her? You pick another one, because this is the same as another one I asked. Please and thank you. Thank you so much. So there was one person who wrote a question online, so I wanted to make sure to engage with that. So it's just not just talk, that we have a full community here, whether you're in person or not. Oh, two questions actually. Do you like horror, H-O-R-R-O-R, Yes, I do, especially when it's meaningful horror, such as anything that Jordan Peele has ever made. If you don't know his work, I highly recommend it. This includes movies such as Get Out, Us, and the most recent one, Nope. Please engage with these movies. They're phenomenal. But yeah, I like horror. Janaea doesn't, so we don't watch a lot. But Charlie and Noah and I will watch it on our own sometimes. Also, what's your favorite non-educational book? I mean, every book teaches us something, but I won't be pedantic. It's got to be Great Gatsby. It's got to be Great Gatsby. It's the first thing that comes to mind. It I think is the perfect representation of the U.S. and the decadence that is not equitable in the U.S. And the symbolism in his words is just beautiful. Do you like cats and clarinets? Is this you? This is a great question to end on. I like all creatures. Some I like more than others. All creatures have inherent worth and dignity. Some I like more than others. I am a dog guy. I'll just say that. And do I like clarinets? I actually, you probably heard me talk about my musical background. I love music. Any instrument is a good instrument, especially if it's played with love. Which, the word amateur, it usually is used as a pejorative. But actually, I love the word amateur because it means one who does something for the love of it, amateur. And so any music being made, especially when it's coming from one's heart and one's soul, I get down with that. And specifically clarinet, if y'all, who here has heard of the composer Olivier Messiaen? Who knows Olivier Messiaen? Not a lot of folks. Interesting. So Olivier Messiaen was a French composer, you probably guessed, who spent some time in a concentration camp during World War II. And while he was there, there were only 4 instruments that he had access to, one of which was a clarinet, one was an out-of-tune piano, one was a cello, and I forget the 4th one. But with those 4 instruments, he wrote one of the most significant pieces of the 20th century called the Quartet for the End of Time. And if you don't know it, if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend that piece. So yes, I can stand cats, and I love clarinets. Thank you all. I promise you I will engage with the rest of these questions. Stay tuned for little short answers that go out either on Realm or in social media, because I think it is important to engage with all the questions that you asked me today. You may have noticed my new stole, which Barbara Bowen made for me. And I'm very, very fond of it. And one of the reasons why I wore it today is because of all the extra little flames on it. Because today we are going to do a fire drill. I know it's hot outside, but it's part of a fire drill, I think. So in a moment, you will hear the sound of an alarm. It'll be very loud. And when you hear that alarm, please do not run. Walk calmly in the most efficient way possible toward an exit. Today, we will have a couple of exits that you will not be able to use because there will be a fire there. And so we have to figure out a different exit to go to that is the closest exit. And that's the key. Always go to the closest exit. Eventually, when our security grant is fully implemented, we will have another exit door right here, right outside the door here. That will be a primary point of departure. We don't have that yet. So we're going to head out once the alarm sounds. And again, don't walk through fire. We have Matt and Fern will be our fire today. So give me a second. I'll pull the alarm and walk calmly and Welcome back, y'all. Unscathed, although slightly warmer nonetheless. We will now rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, Do You Hear? Number 112, and we're just doing verses 1 and 3. Please rise in body or spirit. As I read these closing words by Barbara Cheatham entitled Bring Happiness. Dave, is this mic on? And now we take our leave. Before we gather here again, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity. And may we remain together in spirit till the hour we meet again.